What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unfiltered. This is our first episode that we're shooting. I'm really excited for this journey, so welcome on. If you are new to hearing our story, subscribe, like this video, share it across all your platforms. That'd be a great help for the YouTube algorithm. So let's get started. So I'm going to tell a little bit about our story. We'll get started with just the nitty-gritty of how we got started. What was my background? We started back in January of 2012. Prior to this, I was actually working as a cleaning business for a location. A little bit about that: I was working as a part-time job at night, so I would work full-time. We would 8:30 to 5, but it wasn't Monday through Friday. It was actually some weekends. So I would work Monday through Sunday generally, and my days off would be either the morning shift or the night shift. So that was kind of like my day off, unless I requested a day off that I just had for both jobs. So I was working about 60 hours a week, 65 hours a week. I was like 21, 22 at the time. I ended up doing that for about 11 months. It got extremely exhausting. It was very, very difficult to just sleep at night because I would work from 8:30 in the morning to basically 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. And then I would come home, I'm wired up. I'm just ready to like enjoy myself rather than actually go to sleep. And I actually got really, really sick from it. So I had to quit my cleaning job because it was only the part-time. So at the time when I quit, I saved up enough money because I was working all the time that I was like, okay, well, maybe I can start my own cleaning business. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be in the space and starting my own business. So that was always been a vision and a dream of mine. So then I said, all right, well, maybe I should just quit and look to start my own cleaning business. At the time, I didn't know it was a cleaning business. At the time, I was on Google, and actually I wanted to start my own anything that was cheap business, right? So I went on Google, I searched up top 10 cheapest cleaning businesses that we could start, or not cleaning business that we could start, actually companies that you can start. Landscaping was huge. It was one of the bigger ones, or top ones that you can start. Generally, no experience needed. Accounting was another one. Not a good accountant, so I can't do that. Advertising was another one. At the time, I wasn't good at that. Cleaning business was another one. And all of them, I was like, well, the cleaning seems like it's going to be the most cost effective, because with landscaping, which I like the idea of landscaping, I actually like to get out there and cut the grass. I love lawns and stuff, but lawnmowers are not cheap, right? And then you would need a trailer or a pickup truck. At the time, I had a Honda Civic hatchback. So, looking around, I'm like, okay, cleaning is what I know. I buff floors. That's what I was doing. The hardest part was actually floor care. That's what I was actually doing. So I was like, well, this is going to be a cakewalk because I already know the hardest of the hardest: carpet cleaning, stripping and waxing floors. So I was like, man, cleaning is just going to be a cakewalk. And I could do it with about $250, buying a mop bucket, buying some brooms, buying some trash bags, some rags. So that was kind of like what was my brain. So when I saw the cleaning service on Google, I literally got in my car. I went to Home Depot. I bought mop buckets. I bought one mop bucket. I bought a broom, some cleaning agents, rags, and then I hit the ground running. So I got home with all this stuff, and I was just like, okay, what do I do next? So at the time, there was no ChatGPT, there was no nothing. So I went into Google, and I'm just like, okay, got to create a website. Started learning the ins and outs of that. My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, was into coding a little bit. So she actually coded a really rinky-dink website. That was the first time she actually coded. So you can imagine being your first website. And turns out years later, that was my website until 2018, from 2012 to 2018. So it shows how much we've grown and that website actually came a long way up until 2018. So it doesn't matter how you start, it just matters how you finish. Right from that, we started just a website. It took a few months for us to get our website going. And my wife was actually working at the time full time, so we just did it over the nights. And while we're working on the website at night during our part-time time off, I was still working my day job. Basically, we would either be working on the website or be researching. And a lot of our research was actually customer acquisition research. So how do I get a customer? How do I get clients? I was on Google. I was watching a lot of YouTube to learn from other people on how they built their business, how they were doing. The biggest thing that I started to do, I would sit in the library. I would, on my days off, because I quit my second job. So now when I had a day off, basically I would go to the library, I'd research, I'd do more research, and just had quiet time there. And it was good for me because at home, I felt a little bit more relaxed and not wanting to do it. So when I went to the library, it put me into work mode. So that was huge. That was like a brain hack for me. So I would write out a bunch of handwritten letters, and I would mail them out literally to a bunch of local small firms. Like, they could be accounting firms, they could be law firms that were small. I mean, I'm talking about, could be $150 to $400 a month, once a week type of clients. Had no much success on that, but it did have some traction. With that, we were able to, at just people reaching back out to us and say, oh, this is great. I've never gotten this before. Like, this is awesome. Keep it up. We don't need your service, but this is great. It's awesome to see local people actually caring and sending out. So bunch of great feedback, but no actual clients. So we were doing this for myself. I was doing this for months and months and months, and generated nothing. So then I ran into something online where it says, Google My Business, free, local. So then I started going on to the Google My Business, started that up, got some traction over the course of some time, but it didn't pick up in the beginning. So fast forward to this was going on for about a year and a half or so, where every day off I was in the library just researching, and then at night, just putting in the work, just basically studying, learning, doing as much as I could to learn how to get customer acquisition. All of this time, I was literally learning how to acquire a customer. It was not easy. Generally, I hear the rule of thumb where people are like, hey, my first client was my employer. Well, at the time, my employer was a really big employer. We actually, I'll tell this in a later story, but we actually ended up getting our employer as our customer and is currently our customer now. But at the time of starting, that client was way too big. It's a whale client, I guess some of you would call it. So that was not going to be our first customer. It was just too difficult. They did play with the idea maybe like a year or two after, maybe about 3 or 4 years after we got started. But even then, we were just too small to actually take on that type of project. It would have just not been good for us at the time. Now it's a cakewalk, we'd like to call it, but at the time it wouldn't have been without the team. So fast forward a year and a half, still doing that, still no success, but Google My Business did get some traction. We were getting some type of calls. They were mainly in the residential space. When we got started, we did residential, commercial, all of that, but that wasn't necessarily working out really, really well because when we get a residential call, it was just harder to maintain, to do everything. So I ran into someone on YouTube. I saw them. They were like, hey, I just basically work off of office cleaning at night, 5 to 10, Monday through Friday. And I said, wow, what a great thought process to have and put in place, because now On the weekends, you don't have to worry about going to work. And then Monday through Friday, all you got to do is worry about jobs that are Monday through Friday, 5 to 10. So during the day, it didn't affect my day job. So that was great. Then I didn't have to worry too much, because if I had to do it at night from 5 to 10, I was doing that for 11 months prior, a year ago, at the time. That's how my thought process was. So then that was great. So I was like, all right, that's what we're going to do. Just offices, Monday through Friday, 5 to 10. That's it. If it's once a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, that's what we were doing. And also, once I dialed that in, they also said you have to make a decision. Do you want to do the work, or do you want to outsource the work? And by outsource, it could be subcontracting. It could be you just hiring a W-2 employee. Whatever the case may be, that could be the avenue that you actually take, whatever you want to do. For us, it was basically hiring a W-2 employee, outsourcing everything to them, and managing the customer and the account the way that it is, and the employee. So we ended up looking for those types of accounts, and that made it easier. I was scraping some data on a website, in a local library. One of our mentors, Score at the time, was helping us with scraping some data where you can get some emails, you can get some addresses and all that stuff. So that was actually very, very helpful, because it was able to get us with decision makers. And then turns out, this is probably now going into year 2 of doing this. So I was building up a lot of just emails on our Google Docs. We were just Google Sheets. We would save everything, all our content, our emails, people's names, phone numbers, all of that good stuff. So going into year 2, my first client starts to come in. And this first client was actually my wife's employer. At the time, she worked for a jean company, and their warehouse was not happy with the services that they were getting. So they reached out to the head office, and then my wife was friends with the person that they asked to find a cleaning company. So then they're like, oh, we got to find a cleaning company because they're not happy with the one that was at the warehouse. So then my wife's like, oh, my husband has a cleaning company. You should just call him and he'll get you set up. So then turns out my wife texted me and said, hey, they're looking for a cleaning company. Like, it's the warehouse. It's Monday through Friday. I was like, oh, wow, what a phenomenal way. Like, Monday through Friday. This was actually in the morning. It was not in the evening. But since I was hiring from the beginning, I was going to hire an employee. It was okay, because I could still keep my job. The employee can go to work, and it worked out well. We ended up getting the account because they're like, oh, okay, well, this works well. It was Monday through Friday. It was 2 hours. I think it was like 10 to 12 or something like that, which at the time I thought was great. Now I look at it like that's just not so great, because it makes it hard to find somebody to work 2 hours during the day, right? People need full-time jobs and part-time jobs and so on and so forth. So it turned out that I actually had a good employee there, and she was there for, I think, 11 months, maybe a year. So it worked out really well, super easy. We cleaned the kitchen, cleaned the office, cleaned the restrooms. We didn't do anything in the warehouse. So very, very basic, easy job. And to find that employee, I just put a job on Indeed, a post, and she worked out well. She was a stay-at-home mom, just needed a couple hours during the week to supplement a little bit of the income, and it didn't take up her whole day. So it worked out very well. We hit the ground running. That was our first account, first employee. Then after a few months of that, we got our second account, which this was, I would like to call, our biggest account. And this one actually made me quit my job. So this one gets into the nitty gritty, right? So this account actually made me quit my job because it was making enough of an income that replaced my income. So I think at the time this account was like $3,400 a month. But this is why I'm going to get into the types of accounts and why we decided. I went away from my principle of what I learned, where it was basically stick to office cleaning Monday through Friday, 5 to 10. You remember when I said that? Now, this one was Monday through Sunday, basically overnight from after 11 o'clock at night. And it was a restaurant. But I saw the $3,500 a month or whatever it was, and I was just like, oh, but I got it. This is gonna supplement my income. This was more than what I was making at my job. And then I had the other job, and I think that one paid us like $1,200 a month or something. But after I paid the staff and stuff, it wasn't that much. But it was just kind of like, okay, I can do this. With this night job, supplementing with the W-2s, I was able to supplement my income essentially. We were doing that. That was a complete disaster from day one. Just very hard to please the client. Had to do floors. The floors are full of grease, so just the process of cleaning out the grease, cleaning out all of that stuff was just a complete disaster. So after maybe about 2-3 weeks, I went through like 3 or 4 people. And even worse is from day one, I tried to hire out. We basically put an ad up, got 1 or 2 people to come in. They showed up for 2 or 3 days, then won't show up again. So then the next morning, I would think that they showed up for work. I didn't have no systems, no processes, no nothing. I didn't know what I was doing. But after a couple days, they wouldn't show up. Then the customer would call me and say, nobody showed up to clean my guys. So it was just a complete disaster. This was like my introduction to the cleaning industry. And I remember waking up one day where they're like, we have to meet. And I woke up so stressed out, or after I woke up, I was so stressed out. I was like, if this is what the cleaning industry is all about, like, I don't want nothing to do with it. And after that meeting, that was like 2 months in or a month and a half in. After that account lasted 3 months. And that was the longest 3 months of my entire life. But that helped me understand that those were not the types of jobs that I needed to get into. And I knew it prior to it, but I let the amount of money that we would have made there skew my decision. And I would advise you guys that if you're ever in that situation, don't fall in love with what it could do. Stick to your morals, stick to what you believe in and what you think is going to be best for your business. Don't necessarily take jobs because of the money or because of what it could do for your business or whatever the case may be. Even for the bigger companies, say if you're doing maybe $50,000 a month, don't take that next big job because you feel like this is going to push us to the next level. There are so many things that can happen that those big jobs can derail your business, and payment would possibly be one of them. And if you don't think that somebody big enough will not pay you, I have hospitals not pay us. So you could be completely mistaken. Stick to where you are, continue to grow at that pace. Don't ever put yourself in a situation where you can really hurt your financial future, your family's financial future. I've seen it all. And I've taken some of those, I'm telling you from experience, because I've taken some of those where I'm like, no, this is going to push my business to the next level. And then it's cost us tens of thousands of dollars. Now, luckily for me, we have a separate business, and that can help when you have situations like that, because it's like, okay, I have another business and, it won't hurt me as much and so on and so forth. But if you're not in that situation, I wouldn't gamble as much. Definitely something along you got to do it by groups. The way that I think about it is just by groups. If you have 10 clients that are doing $500 to $2,500 a month, perfect. Maybe now you could start adding a group that's $2,500 a month to $5,000 a month, and then you got 10 of those, and then so on and so forth, and you can keep building from there. But if you stay structured like that, that's going to help your business, because it keeps you where you need to be. But if you start taking on too many different things, this is an event space, this is a restaurant, your brain is going to be everywhere, and to manage that is going to be a complete disaster. So I would advise you guys to stay at home with what you're doing and continue to scale at that pace and gradually. You could do mergers and acquisitions, but that you guys are, if you're small, you can't really tap into that because you could get burned as well. This was a little bit of my first and second account. That's a wrap for today's episode of Unfiltered with Daniel B. I hope today's discussion gave you some valuable takeaways for your own business journey. If you found this episode helpful, please share it and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so you never miss an episode. Adios.